Hey everyone, welcome back to Friday with Dannphan. Sorry, I was 2 whole minutes late. I apologize. That's on me. How's everybody doing this wonderful Friday? I can see already I got the best of the fans coming in first. Free 63, Brian, Jamie, Gabe, Nova. What's up, Mike? We're all here. Oh, there you are, Eric. You're slightly late, otherwise you could have typed in first. He's always first on the gaming streams, though, so he makes up for it. How's everybody doing this very, very fine Friday? Do you notice anything, perhaps, different about the setup? Anything at all? Something that just came in the mail today. Boop! Here, I'll show you. It's Anya and Bond. It's so cute. I had to get it. These damn Christmas sales, they got to me. And I saw this and I was like, shit, I need it. Right? I always wanted something that was like kind of a figure for Spy X Family. But all of the Yor and Lloyd figures, for whatever reason, I don't know, something about their faces would always look kind of off. But Anya would look fine. And, you know, Bond is easy. So so I decided, oh yeah, I'll get this. It's cute, it's simple. I like. Also, I can separate them, so I can just have Anya sitting on just about anything that I want. I also find it funny that they even got like the bottom of Lloyd's body right, even though they didn't really have to. If this was some sort of McDonald's toy or something, you know that would just be a flat surface with no detail whatsoever, because they would just figure, well, you're just going to lay him flat anyway. No need to put the detail on the bottom, right? But no, they actually do go through the effort of making toys for, or figures, I suppose, for all these different anime and manga series to look really good, high-quality stuff. I really wonder kind of how these specific ones are made, because I know that these are made cheaper than the super high quality figures, but I don't know exactly, like, what is this material? It's not quite plastic, right? Because it's kind of rubbery? Does anyone know? Of course, we have also experimented in the past with making some figures out of, like, Burning Star characters. And this we made on, like, our 3D printer. This is all plastic, but this does not feel very good compared to this. This feels really good. So I'm really curious how these are made and how they get them to be made so cheaply, you know? Because even without it being on sale, it was still a pretty low price. Same with this, by the way. The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten figure, that was like $25. That's a good price for, like, how nice that figure looks. I need to get in contact with whoever they're contacting to make these super nice figures. They look so good. They look so good. I need some of that for my stuff. I need to actually put out the finished comics for my stuff. But, we'll get to that. It's funny because I move very quickly. For a comic creator, I do pages fairly fast. I've been complimented before of how quickly I'm able to put out comics. And I appreciate the compliments. It's good to be fast. My issue, of course, is that I get inspired for multiple things at the same time. Like, of equal equivalence. I love working on Reaper. I'm having, like, the time of my life working on this series. But at the same time, as I'm working on Reaper, as passionate as I am about that, at the same time I'm like, I'd also like to work on these 3 other ideas that I have in the background. And because I've decided I wanted to do longer form comics, it's a terrible idea, right? It's a terrible idea to be working on the 100-page book 1 for Reaper and then also start another 100-page one-shot for something else. But it's tempting. It's very tempting. So I'm trying to hold back a little bit. See if I can get some other people creating things, and then we'll publish those on the website, and maybe that'll... Can plastic not be rubbery? I mean, this plastic and this, they feel very different. Let me see. Kind of want some new figs. My last one was of Ron Yakumo from the Toho Project. Oh, cool. Sometimes I feel guilty for taking a long break from creating stuff. Do you take breaks, Dan? I also get very, very guilty after taking a break. It's kind of difficult when you're trying to force yourself to take a break. That's a big thing that not as many people talk about, is when you force yourself to take a break, you don't really relax quite the same way. So sometimes I'm just like not really in the right mind space to work on comic stuff, and so I just do nothing the whole day, and I'm just like upsetty spaghetti, and you could call that a break, right? But the next day, I'm not all of the sudden inspired again, because nothing really changed. I'm still in that mindset of, grr, wish I could work on this thing, I don't know what's wrong with me. Contrast that with me taking a day off to go out and hang out with friends and have fun and actually genuinely relax and watch anime with them and play video games with them, you know, whatever, go to our aquarium, whatever we do on that one particular day. And then the next day, I have all the motivation. Then I actually did relax, I actually did take a break that day, and then all of a sudden, yes, I can start working on stuff again. But it's difficult when you're not really taking a break. You're just taking a day to sulk, essentially. And sometimes you'll bounce back from sulking, but sometimes that just lasts for a while. So try to actually relax on your days off. Try to actually go out and have fun and do something a little different, rather than just laying around and, you know, doing whatever. It's made of anime, that's all you need to know. Yeah, right. You know, there are tons of things about the anime and manga industry and, you know, figure making like this that I get really curious about. And so, because the internet is such a vast place of information, I try to look up this type of stuff to see if I can find the answers. And, you know, 90% of the time, when I'm actually looking for some solid information, it's not actually out there for everyone to view. I assume part of that just has to do with, you have to know somebody to know somebody to know this company that'll do it for you type thing. You know, kind of like the gatekeeping, don't want to do any business with not serious people, therefore we're not going to do a ton of online marketing for it. But that can be very frustrating to not be able to find the information that you're looking for. Especially when it comes to researching stuff for other videos. Sorry, so if you hear someone talking outside my door, it's only because someone's talking outside my door. Nothing to be worried about. Did you watch the Game Awards? No. No, I wasn't really super interested in the Game Awards. Sorry to say, but I know that Baldur's Gate 3 won. A lot. That's about all I know. Because everyone was tweeting about it. And that's how I get all my information. Honestly, though, I don't really see those award shows as being meaningful at all. You know? I mean, good for them, I guess, but I don't know how it affects me personally. It's not like it validates something that I like. I don't need somebody else's opinion to validate something that I like. If I like it, and that's it. But, you know. I guess it's just nice if you really like something, you want to see the people behind it succeed. Maybe that's the idea of all those award shows and stuff. But it doesn't draw in my attention so much. Thank you, Mark says, yay, Dannphan Friday. Hope time off over Thanksgiving was fun. Yeah. Thanksgiving. There were a lot of thanks that were in fact given. I know I didn't stream last week, right? And that's not because there was any emergency. It's not because anything crazy happened. It's just because I didn't feel like it. Which I realize is a very bad excuse. But it goes back to what I was talking about before, right? Where sometimes you just take a day, you're not very motivated, you're kind of in a bad mood, and you just take the day to sulk. You just lay around kind of feeling shitty. But I'm glad that I got to hang out with friends and then bounce back from that. And now I'm back to doing some comic stuff. Getting really close with Reaper to being done. I'm, roughly approaching the halfway mark. I'm like 4 pages to being halfway done the whole comic. That I'm gonna have to go back with the first 20 or so pages and edit some stuff to make the quality enhanced, right? Because as you're working on something for a really long time, your skills are improving just naturally. And sometimes the first few pages don't really quite represent your current skill. So you have to kind of go back and twiddle with it a little. Tweak. Tweaking, yes. And once I'm done, I want to be able to put together a final draft and, give that to some people to get their overall opinions, look out for typos, certain dialogue sections that could be changed and improved. But, yeah, Reaper's coming along nicely. I'm really liking how the art is turning out. I've been doing a lot of practicing on the side of working on Reaper, which has also just been in general helping me out. Because I'm starting to better understand proportions and, how things should look to do it a little bit more anime style, but of course Reaper's not completely anime style. I don't know if you've been looking at some of my other posts on like Twitter or Instagram. I've been posting these little practice sketches as I've been practicing on the side, right? That's the one I posted today. Just some guy. I guess he's cool. I guess he's a cool guy. He's a guy. He exists. You know how it is. There's some naked angel. You know how it goes. Yeah. That's a good position. I always kind of liked that chest out, head back position that you can do with a lot of female characters and have it look really nice, right? But that's actually kind of easy to draw. and yet there's not a whole lot of opportunity for me to put that position, for me to put that pose into my comics. So even though I like this pose, you're just not going to see it very often in the comics. So it's a nice and easy pose that I can do for a warm-up sketch anyways. I'm actually more than the pose, I'm more so proud of the hair at the bottom, the way that it wraps around like her arm. It's just it's nice and subtle. That's where my love is going. That's what I'm proud of. But got the artist brain. It's just that I'm seeing certain sections where I'm improving on, and it feels good, Oh, thanks again, Mark, for the extra 20. My prediction is that you'll publish 2 more comics before The Winds of Winter ever gets into a store shelf. The Winds of Winter. Should I know this? Or are you just being, Well, I will say, 2024 schedule is looking pretty packed so far. Or at least packed compared to previous years, of course. 'Cause I have a comic coming out in February. It's not mine, but I'm publishing someone else's comic. It's going to be the first of the year, right? And then March, we have the Reaper campaign. That's a big deal, because that's a very big project that I want a lot of eyes on, of course, yes. And then we got the Sonic City Witch campaign. That's finally going to be printed into a trade paperback. So there's that. All good stuff. What else do we got here? Oh yeah, that was my little interview with Peter Simeti. Go check that out if you haven't already. Mangatude with Trisha Kafari. It was a good conversation. I have the power of God and anime on my side. Very important post. Very important. Everybody online across the globe needs to know this. That's why I posted that. Here's another warm-up sketch. I'm definitely falling, as you can probably tell, I'm definitely falling in love with this type of slightly older anime, more shoujo style that I was kind of trying to mimic with a lot of these sketches. And yeah, like this one as well. It's kind of like in that direction of a little bit more retro shoujo-y. This one's very shoujo-y. I was using a Sailor Moon reference, as you can probably tell. That's why the eyes are like that. And so I was going for that style. But yeah. So it was fun. As I was saying, though, it's good to be practicing and learning more techniques, learning what I need to do to make it look quite right. He has been working on the book forever. There's a lot of people like that. But yeah. I'm excited to put Reaper out there. I'm like looking at the cover, and even now I'm like, I'm gonna have to do some tweaks to that cover to make it look a little bit better. I don't know if this cover is gonna really sell the series. I don't know if this is very representative of my current skills. But it's good that I am improving the right direction. I was showing like my other friend an example of like a sketch that I did for the draft pages. Oh God, it had to have been like 2 years ago. Fuck. 2 years ago, I was just hanging on to draft sketches for Reaper and just not finding the time to actually do anything with them yet. To be fair, it's a very long book, and it's going to be a full series, so I guess it kind of makes sense that it took me a while to actually get to it. But yeah, I was showing this guy, like, very first sketch that was like done in blue so that I could trace over it more easily. And I was showing him the final version, which looks so much different. I basically just like redrew the whole entire thing. But it's like the same emotion, you know, the same expression, the same position and everything. Sorry, didn't mean to knock into the mic. And I was just showing him like the difference between the two because I was like, oh my god, I'm practically redrawing most of these panels. They look so ridiculously different. And that in of itself is a lot of work, because when you do these draft pages, it should be easy to just like kind of ink over what you already kind of drew and then just make it look a little bit prettier. But in this case, it's not quite as easy as just like tracing over the blue sketches, because the art style has already changed so drastically from when I first started. And so they just look they look like they were done by two completely different artists. And I showed my friend that, and I was like, look at this, it's ridiculous. And he was like, I don't see a difference. He's like, one of them's blue. I don't see any difference. Okay. It's also like wearing a completely different outfit because I changed the character design and everything. It's like, nah, they're the same. Okay. Alright. I see how it is. Alright. Very funny though. It did make me laugh. So, what else is going on with you guys? There's a bunch of books in the series because Game of Thrones was good, minus the last season, of course. Wanted to get into the books, but you will never finish the series. I almost wonder if George R.R. Martin does not actually have an ending in mind. And now there's been so much pressure put on him to make the ending really good. So, the more pressure, the more time you're going to dedicate to trying your best to make it as good as possible. And sometimes that leads to overthinking and an ending that's not quite good at all. Overthinking definitely kills a lot of writing. Not that I'm saying that you shouldn't care about what you're writing and what you're putting out there, but overthinking is fucking brutal. Because you can like write a line 70 different times and once you like write it a little bit too many times, it just sounds weird. It just doesn't come across the way that you originally intended it to. Had a birthday last week. Already mentioned that on a Dannphan stream though. Yeah! We're on the Dannphan stream with all the cool kids. That's where we hang out and talk about deep stuff while playing video games. As you do. Naturally. Friday with Dannphan? No, we're just chill over here. But the Dannphan stream, we get dark. I think the funniest part about that joke is it's kind of true. Yep. Plus the ending of the TV series kind of spoiled the series for some people. Yeah, fair enough. So, let's see. I'm sorry to say that the gaming awards are not exactly something that I would have too much commentary on. Not that I don't enjoy games, but I'm not sure if I would really identify myself as someone who's dived deep into the gaming culture, you know? It's part of the reason why some people have suggested that I do some videos giving my takes on certain video games. And it's like, I like watching those videos, but I don't think I'm deep enough in that I would make good versions of those videos if I did them. Did you watch the Dandadan trailer? Now that's more my style. Yeah, I checked out the Dandadan trailer, or the teaser, I guess, is the one that I watched. I don't know if they came out with a full-length trailer, but I watched the teaser, and it looks good. Looks solid. I'm caught up with the manga series thanks to Manga Plus. Got completely caught up on Dandadan a while ago. And I will say, the way that they start off that manga series is pretty jarring. It's like it's a little bit it's a little bit rapey, right? But once you're like a little bit deeper into it, it becomes more enjoyable. And I'm not really sure how exactly they'll handle it in the anime, but I have good faith. I do prefer things that are a lot more lighthearted than, you know, dark edgy. And I'm not a fan of gore. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before, actually, on the channel, but I'm not a big fan of gore. Some is, like, fine. Like, I agree that when a monster gets punched in the face by a giant Gundam, I agree that the monster's head should explode. But sometimes, you know, in the horror genre, they don't just want to make, like, satisfying, head-exploding, beat-the-bad-guy type gore. They want to, like, make you personally empathize and feel uncomfortable with said gore. And that's the type of stuff that I don't really like. You know, I don't like watching some guy's nails get pulled off. That's not okay. And this is coming from someone who has enjoyed JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So I understand the confusion. During those sections of JoJo, I typically would turn my head away from the screen. Because I really like the comedy of JoJo. I dig the action and the characters. I have a lot of fun watching JoJo. The gore, not so much, you know? Sometimes it's a little bit too much for me. But I guess that's partially to be expected. Sometimes people just don't really latch on to that type of stuff like others do. Late 80s, early 90s anime OVA levels of gore are a little excessive. Yeah, you know, I watched Akira, right? Because you have to. Otherwise you're not allowed to call yourself a weeb. That anime will definitely break your heart a bit, you know? There's this one girl character that's like imprinted onto my brain, even though she didn't really have that much of a character. She was, you know, she was the girlfriend, but like, it's so, because that poor girl goes through so much shit in such a small amount of time in this movie. And it's like, geez, she was really not having fun when she died, huh? She was really having a shitty day. And, you know, sometimes I see that and I'm thinking to myself, that's a little too much. It's, you know, it's a little bit over the top. I don't think I would ever go that far. but you know. I don't know if Adam has ever seen Akira. But I know that he really finds it, like, somewhat disturbing when women are getting killed or just brutally beaten, you know, that like offends him as a man type thing. But funny enough, he does not have any issue with babies or children getting slaughtered. It's just the women. or maybe children, but like he for some reason he doesn't have any issue with like babies getting killed. I would have an issue with that. That would be a little bit disturbing for me, but I don't know. We were watching JoJo together, and that's probably why it's on my mind. And there's like a baby enemy on one of the episodes, and by the end of it, he was like, "Yeah, they should have killed that baby." And I'm thinking to myself, that would be kind of disturbing, don't you think, if they just murdered a baby? And he's like, Nah, they should kill that baby. It's kind of funny, but you know. He really doesn't like rape in stories as well. He's like really turned off, kind of disgusted by like people who just put rape into a story where it's unnecessary and it's just there to kind of be edgy. I get it. I do. But yeah, sometimes I get a little bit uncomfortable with the rapey stuff too. Sometimes I just kind of find it funny when it has nothing to do, like it doesn't add anything to the story and they just add in there that, oh, by the way, rape. Sometimes I just laugh because it's like, I can't take it seriously if it's so detached from what's happening. But, you know, there are instances where you can put that into the story and have it written well. I'm not saying that you should always just avoid all topics. Obviously, you can write whatever you want. Just make sure it all fits. Make sure it fits together, you know? Because the certain types of topics and certain types of story elements that you put in there could be very disturbing. But that's why you want it to leave impact and actually mean something in the story and not just be there for the sake of being disturbing. Because then you're kind of just losing the trust of the audience that you're even capable of writing a good story if you're just putting things in there that don't fit, you know? Yeah, the start of Dandadan was slightly hardcore, but it gets lighthearted later. It does. In a way, I almost feel like the start or like, what was it, chapter 2 or wherever the rapey stuff starts happening. I almost feel like that's not very representative of what the series is later on. But not that it's not terrible. It's not awful. I did at one point consider dropping it just at that moment because I was worried that it was going down a very different direction. But I'm glad that I kept on reading Dandadan because it does get better. And it does turn into a fun series that I am enjoying because I'm still reading it, right? So, you know. On a lighter subject, I've been asking for a while, but did you hear about IHOP's weird purple Wonka pancakes yet? They really like dyeing their food wacky colors for movie tie-ins. Gross. I hate food dye in things that should not be in. I mean, in general, I hate food dye, right? Food dye is not good for you. It's just chemicals, right? What do you think are the chances that food dye is not just a bunch of cheap chemicals and it's actually like natural food dye? You really think that they used real beet juice to make it purple? No, they used the cheap chemicals that's super bad for you. Yes, food dye. There you go. Purple pancakes don't even sound good. Oh, and hello, Renee Delise. Welcome to another Friday with Dannphan. I didn't skip this one. Yay, where's my trophy? My trophy for actually making it to the Fridays with Dannphan. Hopefully everyone has been getting by just fine without my my video uploads. Ugh. I have a few videos in mind where I can like come back and do those videos. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Obviously, not immediately. I'm not really looking to just focus on doing comic stuff for now and worry about Christmas shopping. Oh, man. There's still so much Christmas shopping I gotta do. But that's to be expected, right? Oh, hi. I read Horizon Quest and thought it was pretty good. Any chance of it crossing over with Reaper? That's a fun question. Honestly, they are written in kind of different universes because Horizon Quest was written by Adam, right? And he has like his own lighthearted world where it takes place in. Kind of a more D&D inspired world where everyone's kind of just going out on adventures and there's all these different classes and you go to school and you learn magic and stuff. Reaper, on the other hand, drastically different, right? It's a little bit more complicated how that world is working out, especially since it's a dark fantasy. It's not really quite as lighthearted as Horizon Quest is. Not that there's no lighthearted elements in there. I also enjoy lighthearted elements, of course. But yeah, it's a little bit of a darker tone with fantasy, and how magic works and everything is also just kind of generally different. So it wouldn't be difficult, you know, since they're both in fantasy settings, it wouldn't be very difficult to have some sort of crossover event or just do a nice variant cover where they both cross over. But yeah, they're pretty different. Dannphan Cinematic Universe win? Oh yeah, imagine that, right? Man. I have considered doing like some sort of crossover with like maybe other comics out there. I don't know. I don't actually know. Because it's always, people always talk about how fun it is when like indie comics do some sort of crossover cover or crossover comic with each other. I don't know how well it would mesh with comics that I've already put out there, though. I do a non-canon crossover? Yeah, of course. I mean, aren't all crossovers non-canon, though? Are there any crossovers that people consider to be canon? I'm pretty sure everyone is just like, nah, it's all not legit, right? Dannphan bullying Lois Lane. You're goddamn right. More prefer a crossover in fighting games? Oh yeah, those are fairly easy, you know? Because you don't have to put a story in there. You can just have the two characters with their two different abilities fighting each other. Sometimes they still do try to put a story in there, and it's a little bit weird. Like, you ever see that one Shonen Jump fighting game? I forget what it's called. Oh, Jump Force? Was that it? Jump Force? We have that game. I don't have a lot of fun playing it, though, so I don't really play it. But they tried to add a story in there. And I forget what the story was because it was so not good, you know? Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Right? But I mean, how would you put all of the like shonen characters, just mash them up into a story? So it's difficult. Basically, the only way you can do it is with the multiverse stuff. And in general, kind of sick of multiverse stuff. So it is what it is. Dannphan versus Clownfish TV. Oh, for like a crossover? It's been a while since I've focused on news-related videos. I feel like my news coverage is pretty subpar. But then again, so are 90% of the YouTuber coverage of pop culture news, so most of us are just reading an article and reacting to it. Let's be honest here. There's not too much journalism going on when it comes to these news reaction type videos. And when I realized that my coverage was kind of shitty, and sometimes, maybe even most of the time, I was kind of wrong about certain things, then I kind of got into the mindset of, I should just stop doing these videos altogether. In general, it feels like people were tuning in mostly for those, and sorry, I guess. I do enjoy doing other types of videos, of course. Reviews, which nobody really likes my reviews. Sad face. And the read-throughs, those are interesting. Although they are kind of similar vibes to just me reacting to thing, right? But at least I'm providing some decent enough commentary, and I like to also provide some advice, like pointing out what is being done in the comic that's bad and how to fix it and stuff like that. Those are good, right? In general, I think it'd be good to just point out mistakes overall so that people can correct them. Yeah, I enjoy the reviews, but maybe I'm the odd one out. I love your reviews. I started with your video of manga app reviews. You're my hero. That was with the manga app review stuff, that was when I came up with that idea for a video, I thought, man, this is such a good video, because this is something that I would want to know and that I would be doing research on to find out which manga apps I should actually bother with downloading, right? And then I go through like all this time looking at different manga apps and downloading them on my phone and like checking them out to see if they're any good. And then sure enough, I put out the video and it was like, some people watched. But, you know. I think, like, that was one of those videos where the first day of uploading it, it gets, like, 1,000 views. But meanwhile, the whatever shitty read-through I put out got, like, 5,000 views in the first day. So it's like, meh. But you know. If you ever do dramatic readings again, I want to see you read Green Lantern / Green Arrow Hard Traveling Heroes. That sounds like a webcomic. Why does it sound like a webcomic? What is it? Oh, it's rather ahead of its time dialogue-wise? Oh, really? Interesting. I dig the reviews. I need some time. I need some to enjoy or avoid certain things, especially needed for anime and manga. Don't have time to go into everything blind. I think one of the most nerve-wracking things about reviewing anime and manga is that I kind of treat everything that I pick up of equal criticism. Sometimes people don't like that. Not meaning to call out any names in the comments, of course. But sometimes people are just of the general opinion everything is better because it's manga. Like, manga just better than any other comic form. And if I'm not echoing that at very loud volume, they're upset with me. I mean, like, even when I'm giving a manga a good review, I'll still try to critique something, because I'm trying to be transparent at all of the feelings. And if I felt something negative, even if it wasn't overwhelmingly negative, even if I enjoyed it overall, I'll still like point out a little critique every now and then and be like, oh, well, there's this that I worry about, but overall, it's so fantastic. It's like I get comments that hyper focus on that one tiny speck of criticism in the video, and then boom, I'm a bad guy. But you know, it also could be part of the problem is that I also hyper focus on negative stuff. So I hyper focus on negative comments, and that is definitely an issue, for sure. It's part of the reason why I wanted to kind of fizzle out and take a little break from doing YouTube all the time, because I'm not seeing that exponential of growth, and I'm stressing myself out over nothing, you know? There's no reason to be super duper stressed. Just chill out for a bit. I think there are definitely a lot of people out there who are just kind of not made to do the social media game because they get stressed very easily. And I do worry and wonder quite often if I am one of those people that just can't do it. Or at least can't do it full time. And I'm not into the idea of doing YouTube full time. I want to do comics full time. It's my main thing. That's the itch that I need to scratch, you know? But yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted to take a bit of a break from doing videos on YouTube and just chill out a bit. Maybe just do streams for a while, go on other people's streams, promote stuff, etc., etc. I like doing videos, but damn, I do have a problem when it comes to just focusing on negativity. It bothers me, of course, yeah. Maybe sometimes it's my fault, because I also put out negative videos sometimes. Or, well, I do like a bad review, right? But I try to do a funny spin on it, so that the video is still enjoyable, even when I'm just shitting on something. I try to make it funny. I kind of try to make it goofy, right? But, you know, people always saying that I'm a negative channel. Oh. You know, take my money and do comics. Thank you, Mark. A tale as old as time. It's easy to focus on criticism. Very true. Very true. To be fair, maybe that is part of like what has drove me to do better at comics, right? Because I am working very hard with every comic that I put out to make it better than the last one. So that's good. And to some extent, I like the criticism. I like the feedback. I like it when people point out a mistake that I made so that I can correct it. But I also hate making mistakes in general. So I'm sure that's no surprise to most of you, because we're all kind of human, right? Ever thought about writing a novel plus drawing illustrations covers for a novel instead of comic books? In the sense that I feel like I have too many stories and can't do them all because they're very long. I'm not super into doing novels. I understand the appeal of light novels. I have some light novels, actually, on the shelf. But not sure if that's really my thing. I mean, it's always better when it's a comic, right? It's always better when you're reading the manga, typically. Sometimes it's not, but you know. Comics are more so my style. Novels, I've done novels before. I don't think I'm as good at them, per se, but I understand that it would save a good bit of time, of course. But, you know. Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's comic or manga, Western or Japanese, trash is trash. True. True. Those are true facts, my dude. But I will say, it's probably, even though I've read a lot of trash manga, I gotta say, but it's because I've read a lot of manga. It's because I like a lot of manga coming out of Japan that I've read a lot of it. That's why I've found so much trash. That's what I'm trying to, like, say to people, is that because I'm supporting the industry so much, I've found very unfortunately bad written stuff. I'm not trying to smash all manga because I critique one. You know? But yeah, I understand that it's also, like, just in general, a bad move for an indie comic publisher, such as myself, to trash manga. That's a bad move, in general. Especially when I'm trying to get people who like manga and who are kind of getting into comics by gateway from manga. I'm trying to get them to read some of our stuff on burningstarcomics.net. So it's obviously a bad move to, in general, be trashing any manga. But, yeah. Maybe I can try to put up some more positive manga reviews. Not that anyone would watch them. But just to set the record straight that I don't hate manga. I wouldn't have bought so much manga if I hated it, naturally. But, you know. It's called Trashitude Hypermodern, as the French say. Yes. Alright, you got a chuckle out of me. I'll give you that. What's your favorite so bad it's good manga? Oh, man. That's a funny question. I can name you a couple different anime that would definitely fit under that category. We watched this one CGI animated anime. Oh man, with our friends when we were hanging out with them. It was awful. Or actually, it was in like an OVA, right? And it was the first thing that particular studio has ever put out. Terribly animated, as you can imagine. Every now and then they got like a cool shot in, but that was about it. It was so slow. My god, the movements were so janky and slow with those CGI models. It was terrible. And the story did not make up for that at all. It was just a train wreck from start to finish, you know? But I can't remember what it was called. Because of course I wouldn't remember what it was called. It was terrible. But it was very funny to watch with friends. I'll give it that. I think a lot of people would say like X-Arm, the anime, specifically the anime, would also fit under that. Because it's once again the terrible CGI animation. No, I was thinking of a different one though. I just can't remember. I remember it was like vaguely, like they were fighting Nazis. There was this time travel involved. But yeah. That was fun. It wasn't good, but it was fun. I'll give it that. Sometimes I really enjoy jumping on to the so bad it's good type stuff. And, you know, making fun of it. Boyfriends is that for me. I really like doing the Boyfriends read-throughs because it's so bad that it's somewhat entertaining. I think what was the Perverted Angel one? Religiously Gay. Yes. People have asked me to return to that one at some point as well. That's another kind of so bad but entertaining type of webtoon. Not that I think webtoons count as manga. They don't. But, you know. Boyfriends is like a black hole of quality. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, High Guardian Spice. That, you know, that might actually be on the category too, because that is also another one that's like kind of so bad it's good. So bad it's entertaining, at least. Especially because of all the animation mistakes that you see in there. Oh man. That was fun. That was fun doing the reviews for those. It doesn't help the claim that I'm just a negative channel and that I never put out anything positive or of value into the world, but it was fun doing those videos. I'll say that much. I reviewed every single goddamn episode of that. Every single one. I was very meticulous, pointing out like all the different mistakes and what the writing implies and trying to put some logic into the illogical world that they created. It's good. Moist Critical did a video about the worst anime he'd ever seen, and it was so bad it was hilarious. It felt like a parody, like they tried to make it as bad as possible. Wonderful. What was the anime? You sold me on this, but I don't know what it is. You know, there's a couple of different videos that I've kind of like thought about doing, but it would require a little bit more effort to do. One of them is like just going over like, you know, my studio setup, which would be kind of a funny video because my studio setup is not optimal. But it would be kind of fun just to be like, hey, look at, this is where I draw, this is what I use. This is what I watch while I'm drawing. These are my playlists. Don't ask why they're all Sonic music. And then like another easy video that I could put out there, right, is going over the different manga I have. And, you know, I have manga here, right, but I also have manga over here and a couple of American comics, issues, and trade paperbacks. We've got them down there, and once again over here, I have boxes just full of comics and stuff. Oh, and then I have some downstairs, right, because we have the bookshelf downstairs as well. That was probably one of the main... That's definitely, like, up there as far as reasons to want to do my future comics in manga format, is because of the size. We, as a collective, I believe that we need to start making the comics smaller. Because it's very true. It's true that manga fits so much better on a shelf. And it's so good to display it on a shelf and have it fit. You see these books over here that are laying sideways? Those are my Arcathena books. Aracanetti, right? I can't remove them right now because they're kind of stuck. But, oh, there we go. Hang on, we're getting there. I'll just take the top one. Let's not worry about that. Okay. This is 4 of 6. It's the brand new one, right? I can't put that on the shelf. It don't fit. It don't work. It's nice. It's a very nice book. Look at the big. Am I right? But I can't. It won't do. So it's difficult to really properly display these very nice indie comics unless I do it like that. And that's squeezed in there all the way up at the top, right? So that's just 4 out of 6. Once I get 5 and 6, I'm not going to be able to display them like that. I'm going to have to find a new place for them all. I don't know where. But, you know, they're probably just going to end up in the box at the end of the day. But this is what I mean when I say we need to make our comics smaller. And I also, as someone who has printed multiple comics, I love the idea of us doing the manga style and moving to black and white art interiors. I know, spicy take. Look, I don't hate color. I don't hate it. It's actually very extravagant to get a comic book that's like big and has color, right? Beautiful colors that just are vibrant, and they reach out into your soul and give you a nice warm hug. But bitch, it's expensive. It is like twice the amount to print something with color as it is to print something black and white. And that just stings, right? What is wrong with America and ink? Why is ink so goddamn expensive? Why is color ink as expensive as it is? I mean, there's a few answers for that. Most of them can be explained with HP just being a terrible company. But you know what I mean. It's very expensive to do color. It's part of the reason why I would like to move towards the manga style of ways. We fit on the bookshelf, black and white interiors, it's cheaper, and with the money that we save, more pages, so that you can have like a full book in your hands. You don't have to wait for the next issue to come out in a few months. You get a full story before you have to wait however much time for the next book. That is my dream, you know? I think manga had it figured out. I really do. But, how small are we talking? Like, I want to do it in the size of the Shonen Jump manga. So, like, yeah, let me pull out Freeman. Oop, actually, you know what? I'll pull out Full Metal Alchemist so that I don't accidentally topple over my sweet angel next door who spoils me rotten. So this is typical size, right? In comparison with my face. Like, what do I compare it to so that you understand how big this is? I'll get a normal Lady Mechana. It's okay. I have it because Adam wanted to also read it. That's what a manga looks like compared to the trade paperback of an American comic. It is way smaller, right? It's not in full color, but still good art. Still very good art. Full Metal Alchemist. Very good. Good series. Good stuff. Good shit. Dude, 0 out of 10. So that's that's about the shrinkage going on. But this is much cheaper. You get more pages, you get more story. You feel satisfied at the end of reading this, and then you're excited to read the next volume. And another thing that I'd like to be doing is while I'm putting out these books, you know how Shonen Jump has the magazines where they're releasing the chapters as the next book is being worked on? And how they have Manga Plus, right? Where they're releasing the chapters as the next book is being worked on? So that you can stay updated before you even buy book number 2. I want to do that with my Subscribe Star. So as I'm working on the next book for Reaper, or as I'm working on book 1 for Reaper even, I'm also releasing the pages as it's being worked on. So even before I'm done book 1, I'm still releasing every month or so, like 10 pages that I just finished, and so that you can read it as I'm working on it in a similar way that manga is done. I think that's fun. I think that's a good idea. I would prefer it to be, a subscription thing. So you're still kind of making money, for all your hard work, but you're also keeping the fans alive. You're still like making sure that good weeb culture is alive and well and passionate and supporting your stuff. It was a good idea when Manga did it. I want to do something similar. Yeah. That's just what I'm saying. It's okay, I guess. Okay. Totally agree. Western graphic novel sections. If bookstores look chaotic, manga will always look clean and intriguing. Yeah, goddamn right. Now, granted, not every manga is the same size, of course. Sometimes they switch it up a little bit, like 0.5 inches taller, smaller. Uzaki is the biggest manga I have on here. Funny enough. You'd think it would be the super thick battle angel Alita over there, but no, it's Uzaki-chan. For some reason, this is just slightly bigger size than the average manga. But I actually prefer the Shonen Jump sizes they got here. I think those are best size. Feels good in your hands. You don't have to squint to read it. It's just right. Just right, you know? Yes. It's super big, yes. Uzaki-chan is the biggest. Alright, maybe it makes sense. Maybe it does actually make sense that that's the biggest thing on the shelf. Her boobs are so big that they needed to print it onto an even bigger manga. Yeah. But, yeah. And I've been watching a good bit, a good chunk of videos that kind of talk about, you know, how can we bring the success from manga over here to the United States? Because I'm very interested in that. I love the idea. I mean, I love the passion in general behind supporting local creators and supporting more people within your own country. Help that economy pick back up, because God knows it really needs it, right? But obviously, America has really dropped the ball when it comes to competing with this nice culture that the manga industry has. And while people are very eager to contribute to buying the figures, buying the books, subscribing to those apps or the Shonen Jump magazines, we're a little bit less eager to give an indie comic a chance, right? Part of that does have to do with quality. So it's a big thing to always be raising the quality of your books. That's what I'm trying to do. With every single comic, I'm trying to make it look better, cleaner than the last. I'm trying to apply new techniques, make it look sharp, make it look very good. But it's obviously a lot bigger than that. A lot of the problem is that people have essentially lost their trust in a lot of American comics for multiple reasons. Sometimes people just only are able to relate American comics with superheroes, and then everything else that's not a superhero comic just seems a little bit odd because people have related those so closely together. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done to really get people within my own country to read my comics, right? Naturally. But hopefully, we can come up with a good game plan to turn the tides. Because a lot of people now, today, there is a much bigger push for indie stuff right here in America. There are indie creators out there who are able to take what they do and turn it into a success story. It's possible. It's just more difficult, I would say. But another big thing about it definitely comes down to marketing. It comes down to how people discover you and if people discover you. A lot of people are just like so under the radar, it's crazy. It's crazy. I actively look for like American manga creators. Actively. And one day I'll be able to like find one, right? And then the next day it's just like nothing. And then the day after that, it's like a miracle when I find a new one. I feel like I'm already following all the ones that exist. But then I'll find a new one, a new American creator who's doing it the manga style. But they're not actually new. They've had that account for years and I've just never found them, even though I'm actively searching for them. I think another part of that is just like the algorithm, it's not your friend. If you don't have good SEO, you're kind of just screwed to never be found online, you know? It's brutal. It's so brutal. Like, even when you're actively searching for something, it just won't show up. You know? But, it is what it is. You just kind of have to find a way to make the system work for you. And step 2, success. Alright guys, we're a little bit over the 1 hour mark, so we are going to try to wrap up this Friday with Dannphan. But we got to talk about a lot of fun things, so I'm glad. I'm glad. But yeah. I'll try to do another Friday with Dannphan next week. Make me be more consistent. Because I should be more consistent. It is a little bit silly that I actually stream more on Game Fans than I do on my original channel here. Part of that is just because Adam is also there doing the Game Fan stream, and he's doing all, for now anyway, he's doing the gameplay and I'm just kind of sitting in the background, so that's a little bit more easier for me to contribute to. But you know, make me consistent. I want to be consistent. I want to be a good person that keeps you updated and talks to you about all the things that you want to know about when it comes to the channel, when it comes to my comics, Burning Star, new stuff we got going out there. I also want to start uploading more videos to the Burning Star YouTube channel, because that exists. I don't know if you heard about this, but there is a Burning Star YouTube channel. I want to do more videos for that. I want to do some comic dubs. I want to do some speed draws and some other third thing, you know, trailers, do some animations. I want to do fun stuff. Don't want to neglect the channel that's actually very focused on the stuff that we're creating at Burning Star. So, have a good Friday, everybody. And I'll see you next time. Maybe, no promises, but maybe Game Fan stream tonight. We'll see about it. Alright, good night, everybody.